Is this tattoo artist creating designs that they legitimately drew and presenting them to clients, or is it something that might have used some AI assistance? Let's delve into this and a couple other pieces that people on the internet aren't sure about. So this is our very first post in r slash is this AI, and it says, are these pictures from this tattoo artist AI, or did he actually create these designs? So the one that we see here, the first one, it is like a mock-up of what looks like to be a koi fish with some sort of kind of like tribal designs woven in between and large flower pieces around this koi fish. It's mainly done in black and white, but the flowers are done in red. And then here we have another example of it inked on the arm. So we have two koi fishes, and here on the sides, we have more red flowers. Now, looking first at the koi fish tattoo design, there's already some parts of it that has me kind of like scratching my head where I'm like, oh, I don't know if this is like fully hand drawn and that AI assistance wasn't used in some way. It kind of looks like the fish's head is cracking. Like on the very top of the head, there's like the line that goes down towards the front of the mouth of the fish and it splits open into some webbing that you can see. And there's all these like dots on the front of the koi fish's nose. Is that what it's called on a fish? And there's a crack going down the eye as well. And from my knowledge of what koi fish look like, they typically don't look like there's cracks running down the head and running alongside the eye. Now, going into the body of the fish, we don't have both fins. We have the left fin, the right fin is obstructed. It could be due to the fact the tribal design is kind of running over the fish so you wouldn't see it. So that possibly could be what's happening here. But then we have like some oddities where the right fin should go. So here is where the right fin would be. And there's all this like cracking webbing detail that is like meshed in between the fish and the body, like the geometric design that we see on the side here. That has me scratching my head because what is this supposed to be? This is an odd choice for filler. I feel like, again, I mean, I don't have a tattoo, but I'm just looking at it from an objective standpoint that just, I don't know why you would put that there. When you're asking the question, would a human draw this? To me, this is bringing the answer of no. And then we look further down the rest of the detailing that we have going on here. And even within this geometric design, we have a lot of muddying that's happening between the zigzag striping design that's going all the way down here. There's all this muddy detail happening here. Same thing with over here, all this muddy detail. And we have more muddy detail. And the muddy detail can be an artistic choice when it comes to like illustrations, right? But for tattoos, particularly from what I know about tattoos, again, I like watching this YouTuber called Treacle Tats who talks about them all the time. But even though I myself don't have one, you don't want to put too much like fine lines really close together because what happens is over time, as tattoos age, it starts bleeding and it just becomes like this one muddy mess. So like clarity of design is pretty important in a tattoo, especially keeping in mind of like how it's going to age over time. So that's why is a lot of this like really fine muddying detail in the zigzags, one, tells me this is AI generated, but two, I feel like a tattoo designer would not add this because they would know, hey, over time, this is going to age really poorly. But we have zigzags that melt into scalloped edging. And then we also have flowers melting into the geometric design. It looks like the flowers are sitting around the geometric design. And then you get to this part. We have a bunch of like leaves. And this one is funny because we have what looks like a hibiscus and one leaf of the hibiscus melts into and becomes the leaf of these leaves that are jutting out. And here we have some leaves that are jutting out that melt into the geometric design. That is not giving me confidence that this is handmade. And then we look over at the leaves over here and there's all these like crumbs in the leaves. Again, I can understand like holes maybe and something, but crumbs? Why would you choose to draw that? Like when you ask the question, would a human add crumbs to the leaves of this tattoo? I'm pretty sure the answer is going to be no. So this is not making me very confident this is handmade, as well as this flower having a super long leaf for some reason, but all the other leaves are like normal length. Next up, we have the tattoo on this person's arm. I don't know if this is completed or like a mock-up that was then photoshopped onto the arm to kind of be like, oh, this is what it could look like. But I personally see a lot of red flags with this that make me feel like this is either AI generated or they stenciled on AI generated imagery and then just tattooed straight over it with no rhyme or reason. Because we have a lot of artifacts, just artifacts here. These are not like splash water droplets from the fish. Like it's just artifacts, more artifacts here. Here we have even more artifacts in the gaps. These leaves have like little lines, vines kind of coming out of the stem of the leaf, and they're just becoming nothing. And then here we have like overlapping outlines. We have a leaf and there's just this like other leaf shape right on top of it for some reason. And you also see that here, like you have this flower, we have some leaves beneath it, and then another outline of a leaf on top of that leaf. And again, we have a flower with a bunch of petals, and then one petal becomes this like really, really thin, long, and swirling vine. I feel both of these images have AI assistance at the bare minimum, if not fully is just AI generated. And a commenter says, I say AI. When you zoom in, especially on the tribal stuff and geometric shapes, they become very incoherent. And as you can see here, all these fine little like muddy details happening in here. That's what I was talking about. And they add, plus the hemi of the flower seems very iffy and not something somebody would purposely draw. The end balls not meeting the lines, etc. Yeah, like the piston coming out of the flower. Another person adds, I believe these are AI. The shading doesn't have the texture of a tattoo needle on skin, and a lot of the lines are far too fine. If it was fresh, the skin would be more red, and if it was healed, many of those fine lines would stand out less. Another person adds, as a person with tattoos, yes, it's AI. And the top comment, somebody took that original like digital image of the koi fish and checked it with OpenAI to see if there was a synth ID. And it was flagged as generated with OpenAI tools. That's not a good look. And same thing for the arm with the designs on the arms, it says generated with OpenAI tools as well. And personally, like looking at the arm one, I would be horrified if that was tattooed on somebody, because that means like, one, you generated stuff with Gen AI, and then two, you put it on somebody's body, and third, you tattooed it on there. And then like as an artist, you just didn't have any discretion. Like as you were tattooing the second outline of a leaf on top of an existing leaf, you just were like, yeah, I'm fine with it. I'm just gonna stick it on top for no reason without like, hey, maybe that's already a leaf, so we don't need to put another outline on there. Huh? So we have that tattoo being flagged as AI generated. Next up, we have a post, and OP writes, is this image fully AI generated, or are there just some parts that were modified with AI? It's a stick figure meme that says, do you ever bring your pet up to a mirror and just be like, that is you? And it's a stick figure woman, like holding a tabby cat, pointing in the mirror, and you know, tabby cat's kind of like looking at itself. And OP writes, I know that Photoshop exists, but this doesn't really look like it was created in Photoshop. I've never used Photoshop, but I know there's a feature that can add things that are generated by AI. Okay, so the position of the cat in the mirror looks wrong to me. The stick figure doesn't look like it was drawn. I think I'm wrong about this, but I doubt the image wasn't at least slightly modified with AI. Interesting, because like the image of the cat is a different image of the cat than this image. You know what I mean? It's not like they took this image of the cat and then the woman and then mirrored it, and then that was the image you get in the mirror. This is another image of a cat, because if you look at this face here, this is the 3/4 profile of the cat. But this cat, you can see a lot more of both sides of the cheeks. So that's a separate image of the cat. So they either generated another image of the cat or took another image of the cat from a different angle. But I don't really think it's another photo of the cat at a different angle, because it's not the same cat. If you look at the wrist of the cat, this paw here, the cat has little white socks. I love it when cats have socks, but it has this like curvature up to the arm. Like the white goes like kind of down the arm. One of my cats has that, and that is present on the same paw. But the other paw, as you can see here, this cat also has a lot of white going up the arm on the underside of the paw as well. You see that right here? And that's not present on that arm. Like on this arm, there's no white under the paw. It's just sock and tabby cat coloring after that. So that's why I was looking at that. I'm like, this isn't the same cat. Like it should be the same cat, but it's not the same cat. So it's not like you took a picture of a cat and then you got like a slightly different angle of the cat. Where did you get this picture of the cat from? Of a really similar, but not exactly the same cat, you know? Also, like the tabby coloring is a little bit off. This cat has like the stripage going all the way up to like the upper bicep. This cat, it goes all the way up to the shoulder. Same thing with the leg. You can see that tabby striping, it ends at the hip for this cat. It gets really faint on the body. But here in the cat in the mirror, that tabby striping is very apparent all the way across the body. Like even on the belly, you can see that as well. So like looking at these two side by side, I'm like, it's not the same cat. Now, is the stick figure woman drawn? I also think so, because her body is broken. She has like a stick figure neck, and then it looks like it's supposed to be a stick figure body, but then it becomes an L and we have two legs. You know, they're supposed to make like a skinny triangle to make the dress, but then they just missed one line. And I'm gonna be honest, human error is real. People make mistakes, but like, dude, come on, you're drawing a stick figure. This would take like 3 strokes to draw. So how did you forget that line? I feel like this is AI generated. I feel low-key the whole image is probably AI generated, because the cat is not the same cat, and the woman is definitely messed up. And she's not even holding the cat the same way in the mirror. So what happens? The top comment says, how depressing is it that we have to look at AI generated stick figure drawings? And yes, this is very AI. It couldn't decide if it wanted to make a dress or a body, and it went with both. Another commenter said, the reflection is also wrong for the stick figure. Another person said, seriously, you couldn't have drawn a freaking stick figure? You had to use AI for it? And another person replied, literally the least creative people on the planet. Can't even open Paint, find a PNG image of a cat, and make this meme in a few minutes. They had to get a bot to do it for them. It is just so depressing. A literal child could have made this. And somebody checked it for a synth ID, and it was flagged as, yep, generated with open AI tools. That's actually so sad that we've come to a point in time where people literally use AI to generate memes and stick figures. Come on, bro. That's actually so sad. Next up, we have a post writing, art account Instagram with over 300k followers looks suspiciously AI to me. And they add, the sketch photos are quite different than the shaded ones, yet no one in the comments are even questioning it. So here is one drawing. This is the sketch. Here we have some more drawings. Another one, more. This one is actually somebody that I've talked about before. This person is absolutely, without a doubt, most definitely using generative AI. And I had a whole other video talking about them. If I remember, I'll link it down below. Again, don't send hate, don't contact this person, whatever, but their images are fully AI generated. And the reason why I made a video about it is because they're selling commissions. So there are people who would purchase the artwork thinking they're getting something handmade. It just isn't. There was a lot of evidence of it being AI generated, including the fact that exactly the sketches do not actually look like the final product, as in these aren't the correct sketches. There's a lot of differences. There were pictures where there was like incorrect number of fingers, guns that were incorrect. He also had videos flexing a really like lavish lifestyle of being in a hotel room and this, that, having this like beautiful girlfriend. And all of that was also AI generated. There was one where it was like a video of him like drawing, and then the wall didn't line up properly. And one of the like paintings that was like stuck on the wall was like blowing in the wind, and you could see the like divot in the wall disappear behind the painting. And then at the top of the painting, when it reappeared, there's no more divot, except if there is an inset into the wall, it would be from ceiling down to floor for the most part. And then there was like AI generated breakfast food in the hotel room. So seeing the name alone, it's just funny because it's like, yeah, I mean, it is. Right. And the reason, in my opinion, as to why nobody questions it is because I think this person has banned the word AI in their comment section. So anybody who tries to type it, just automatically their message doesn't go through. The top comment says, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, looks like a duck. It's probably a duck. Another person. We got a lot of these like OpenAI synth ID checkers in these comments, but they checked the image in OpenAI and a synth ID was detected. And yeah, another comment adds, while I do agree it's likely to be AI, I very often make sketches that have a completely different pose from the end result because I'm not satisfied. And yes, like a commenter adds, yes, usually it differs either a little or a lot from the sketches because of adjustments. I never saw an artist having 100% accuracy from sketch to final work. Plus, most of the time, the sketch is way less detailed, blah, 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 blah. Like, I just want to add, big disclaimer, right? Like, if you're not generating stuff with AI, like, it's not about you, right? Human artists, obviously, will have sketches that look different from the final product. Sometimes you have a sketch, and then as you're rendering the final product, you're like, ooh, made the head too big, you know? I need to make it a little bit smaller, etc. The issue with this person's sketches in particular is that the sketches will be like really, really, really rendered out. And this is like one example of it. This is the sketch, right? And as you can see, this is a really rendered out sketch where there was like color applied, right? Because like her suit is colored in black. There's cross hatching, there's shading, there's texture. It is like a fully rendered drawing just done in pencil, right? But this is the sketch, which is again, fine if this is how you sketch, right? And some people like doing the fully rendered sketches, but one, the sketch will have AI inconsistencies. Like here, she's holding a weapon and there's like lines connecting the weapon into this guy's body for some reason. But then we look at the final product, which is supposed to be the inked rendered version of the sketch, but like, there's a lot of things that are just like suddenly different, but slightly so. And it just doesn't really make sense because everything, it looks AI generated. Again, my other video about this has a lot better explanations. I'm not wording this properly, but interesting things are changed, right? Where like all of a sudden they're like put closer together. The sword shifts back on her shoulder 1 inch. It's also not on her shoulder. It's like resting on her arm, you know, but it shifts back 1 inch. She pops her hip out 1 more inch. She pops the left leg out 1 more inch. He steps his left leg back 1 inch. Again, there are artists who will make really minor changes from the sketch to the final product, and then they're like, because I like this pose better, etc. But like, this is essentially a fully rendered product at this point. And then a lot of really, really, really minor changes to make it look slightly different where it doesn't have an impact on the way the full final product is perceived are implemented in the difference. And it happens with every single one of his pieces to the point where it's like, okay, you're just generating hot anime man and woman together sketch. hot anime man and woman together, black and white, inked image. Okay, well, these two look similar. All right, I'm gonna post it, sketch final product, you know? That's what's happening here. Again, I just want to add this humongous disclaimer. If you look at an artist's work and their sketch and final product don't look the same, do not accuse people of generating it with AI, because that is not true. And it is completely normal in the artist's workflow to not have your final product look like your sketch. That's why it's a sketch, because you're building upon it and you will change and alter things. So I just wanted to add that, because yeah, I don't want people taking this statement and running with it, because that is not what that is supposed to mean. This guy is just generating everything with AI, which is why it all looks slightly different, but it's supposed to be the same image. So yeah, with that person's artwork, my vote, AI generated. And the final one, this was just funny, so I wanted to share it with y'all. The cake themselves are real, but are the pictures AI? Something seems off, but I can't really see any artifacts. And these are two decorated cakes that are being sold at what looks like a convenience store with like a screen print image on it with like a cake decorated trim. And these are without a doubt the most AI generated looking images that to me you could possibly see. And again, you obviously will have to look closely to look at all the details, etc. But because this is a photograph of an image printed onto a cake, it is a little bit harder to tell. But we got a lot of funny stuff going on already. Like the top one, it's of a woman playing soccer kicking the ball and a guy playing basketball, and it looks like he's going for the ball, and then the ball's in the middle and it's half and she's on a soccer field, he's on a basketball court. The soccer net already looks really odd. The stadium also looks super odd to me. He's got one high top shoe and one low top shoe. And then the bottom one is this like really anime looking music group where we've got one person with like a microphone that is like bent in the middle. One person who is playing oh, I don't know what the name of this instrument is. It's like the piano where you can like blow into it. Another person with a microphone, and then what looks like a guy pointing at us, I guess. The audience, it's looking really AI. The top comment says painfully AI. I can tell from the style, but to give at least one specific reason, the keyboard on the bottom cake isn't designed correctly. Another person adds, it's a keyboard guitar, but the keys don't have the correct white and black pattern. And yeah, this is something I pointed out about another AI generated keyboard, but basically like keyboards, they have the white keys and the black keys, right? And the black keys go in order of 2, 3, 2, 3. So, but this one, it's 2, 2, 3, 4. No keyboard looks like that. I didn't even notice that. Everyone is saying AI, definitely AI. Another person says, how many people actually request a half basketball, half soccer cake anyways? Somebody says, quote, the cakes themselves are real, end quote. Oh, thank God. Another person says, imagine getting an AI cake for your birthday. You can tell from the faces of the characters to the effects. It's all signature, basic AI style images. And another person did a whole research dive, writing that I noticed they had the same copyright in the bottom corner and did some Googling to find Decora is a common brand of these kind of cake wafers, but they couldn't find the designs anywhere. They added, my best guess is for a while they did these terrible AI designs and stopped either because of negative feedback or because they didn't sell well. So somebody in the comments for some reason thought OP was a bot, so OP added another photo of the cakes where you can see there's actually now a third. We've got a Paw Patrol cake. For me, the big one is the dead soulless eyes. There is no life in these guys' eyes, like at all. So yeah, what are your thoughts? Have you seen AI generated cakes? Because that was my first time seeing it and I just thought it was really funny, so I wanted to share it with you guys. But overall, what was your score? Did you get everything right? Did you flag them as being AI generated? I think for me, honestly, the most insidious one are the tattoos, because tattoos are something that are permanently inked on people's bodies. Like if I ever got a tattoo and I found out the artist AI generated it, I would be absolutely horrified. But then like, what can you do? Because now it's inked on you. Laser removal is painful and super expensive. And then you're gonna look at it and be like, ugh. Well, speaking of tattoos, I don't have tattoos, but I have this awful sunburn. Guys, wear your sunscreen. I went to Warped Tour and then I crocheted myself a cute little sweater and I was super excited to wear it. And I forgot to apply sunscreen on my arms, which is so out of character for me because I am normally really meticulous with sunscreen. Oopsies. Wear your sunscreen, kids. And with that, if you like this video, I appreciate it. If you want to like and subscribe, check me out on Instagram. I'm trying to get to 100K. We're slowly trudging along there, so it would mean a lot if you want to follow me there. I'm also on Spotify now, so I'm posting like videos onto Spotify. So maybe if you're a Spotify user, you might want to catch me there. It's linked down below. And I hope to catch you guys over there in my socials or in another one of my videos. Peace.